Reduced engine power light. Flat rate mechanic here today, and today we're going to go over what you should do if you get the reduced engine power light on in your dash. This video is going to be jam-packed with a ton of information, so be sure to stay tuned to the end. I'm going to show you what you should do, a couple things you can try before you spend money.
And we're also going to be taking this apart to find out why it failed.
Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe to the Flat Rate Mechanic if you haven't already. Okay, so reduced engine power light is coming on in your dash, or a reduced engine power message. This is most common in Chevy vehicles, Chevy Malibu, Chevy Silverado, Chevy Cobalt, Chevy Cruze. I've seen them in all these vehicles, Cadillacs, Pontiac, Buick. So definitely a big issue with GMs. If you know of any other vehicles that have that, check power or reduced engine power light or reduced engine power message on the dash. Leave it in the comments below, or if your vehicle has it, just leave the make and model below so we can see where these are failing, stuff like that. But basically the first thing you want to do, basically where this problem lies, is in the throttle body itself. So there's some kind of correlation issue where this throttle plate is and what the computer is receiving. So what it does is it's going to put your car into a fail-safe mode or a limp mode, where it's only going to let you accelerate to a certain point, and that's it. So you're probably not going to be able to go very fast. But what you can do is pull over, shut your vehicle off, and restart it. In most cases, it's going to go back into the normal drive mode, as long as there's no serious issues with this. If it was just a correlation issue that happened once, you shut the car off, restart it, and you should be able to get home or get to a shop just by doing that. Now once you do that, the first thing you're going to want to do is just clean this thing up, you know. Basically, if you're not familiar with a throttle body, this is what controls the amount of air that goes into your motor. It's directly linked to your throttle pedal electronically, no more cable like the old days. And just follow your air intake boot. That's where it comes. That's where your air intake, air filter, all that stuff connects right into here where your air comes in. So disconnect that, open it up, take a toothbrush and just some brake clean or some card clean. Go ahead and open this thing up with your hand, get it all nice and cleaned out inside of there, and then just let it relearn itself. If you have a small code reader, you can go ahead and clear the light by yourself. If you don't, I'll leave a link below. You can get a little mini handheld reader on Amazon, or even a Blue Drive, I believe, makes a nice one that connects to your smartphone. I'll leave a link to that as well. But yeah, go ahead and get it cleaned up. And if it's easy to take off, I like taking them off. If I'm doing it for a customer, I'll take them right off and clean them up really good. Reinstall it. Let it go through the relearn process. On Chevys, you do not need any kind of scan tool for it to do the idle relearn. It will do it all by itself just by starting it and letting it idle for a few minutes. Some cases you may need to drive it for a little bit. In either case, no scan tool needed. There are some vehicles that you will need a scan tool if you run into this problem. I know Infiniti and Nissan is definitely one of them. I will leave a link to that video in this card up here that shows you how to relearn those throttles. But what I wanted to basically go check in this video is I got, this is one of a very high failure rate on the Chevy trucks. This came off a Chevy Silverado. This had already been cleaned once, and the customer came back and they were still having issues with it. So I just kind of wanted to take the mystery out of what is failing on these. And I've taken them apart before. This one I started to take apart. I haven't completely inspected it yet, but I took a couple clips off. There's a seal that goes here. They're relatively simple. If it needs to be replaced, you can buy these as a unit, and I believe you can also just buy this piece. And this piece just consists of basically your throttle position sensor, which relays where this position is back to the computer. And that's usually what fails. And I believe you can buy just these. If I can find a link for that, I'll leave it below in the description as well. But go ahead and these clips just pop off. And wear safety glasses, they go flying. And alright. What we have here is this is actually the throttle position sensor itself. Let's get this off of here. Now I had already had this apart once. Typically this steel piece is going to be this is going to be kind of like this. The steel piece is going to be here, and these are not meant to be taken apart. So if you think you're going to take this apart and put it back together and put it back in your vehicle, you're probably not going to be very successful at it, because they have like a molded plastic around here. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if you're going to take yours apart, chances are you may not be able to get it working again. But what you have here is a resistor. Your throttle moves, it's going to vary the signal to the computer, letting it know what position that throttle is in. What we have here is your motor. We got the 2 pins that power the motor through the cover here. And then we got the gear that actually activates the throttle. So as you can see here, all this seems to be working perfectly fine. Nice and smooth. I don't see any damage to the gears at all. I don't really see, sometimes if the motor is starting to go bad, you'll see some brush material or some blackness around here. I don't see any of that. Without actually testing this, just visually looking, everything appears to be working pretty good. You can see the arm that controls the throttle position sensor itself is moving properly. So all this seems to be functioning okay. What I would do next, and I have already done, I'm not going to do it on the video here, is I'm actually going to make sure, it's possible, very unlikely but possible, that the molded circuitry inside this plastic housing can go bad or has high resistance. So what you can do is you can actually ohm those out through these pins, ohm it out through here to here, and just make sure you have low resistance on all these terminals. And same goes for the motor circuit here. If that all checks out good, then we would move on to the next thing here, which would be just inspecting this actual potentiometer here, our throttle position sensor, and trying to figure out why this thing failed. And you can see right off the bat, it's got heavy wear down at the closed throttle position, and then at the open throttle position there's not nearly as much, which makes sense because most of your throttle range is going to be down in this area. But from what I've seen in the past, that's some pretty heavy wear. There's some scoring. See if we, on the outer one you can see there's some pretty, it's starting to wear into the material there. So that can definitely pose a problem. But where I usually really see the problems is in these fingers, and see if we can get a good view on that. Yeah, and it does look like we definitely, from the ones I've inspected in the past, you can definitely see some wearing, uneven wearing. And see, there's one finger there, it actually looks like it's bent back a little. So these are pretty inconsistent with compared to a nice new unit. So that's all that's happened on this one, is this throttle position sensor, the potentiometer, is worn to the point where it's just sending a faulty signal back to the computer, would be my guess on this one here. So if that's the case on yours, and like I said, in most cases that is the case, and if you can just buy this unit here, you can save yourself money rather than having to buy this whole throttle assembly. But definitely, you're definitely going to want to clean it first. Like I said, clean it first. You can do it on the vehicle, off the vehicle, and then just let the vehicle relearn it, clear the codes if you can, and drive it. In a lot of cases, that's going to take care of it. So, and it's also a good idea too, as you're removing this thing, to make sure you have no corrosion or moisture inside these connector. Any kind of moisture or corrosion conditions can cause faulty signal going back to the computer as well. I believe I also have another video on cleaning these throttle plates along with the reduced engine power light. I'll leave a link in that card up here, and I'll try and leave a couple links to a few more videos that may help you out in the video description below. But appreciate you guys watching this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification to get notified of my new videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, Flat Rate Mechanic.